your reaction to, Eddie? The news broke late last night that despite his A sample and his B sample coming back positive, Oscar Valdez has been cleared to fight in Arizona. Just want to get your initial reaction to that.
To be honest, I was just told it on the car on the way here, so I haven't seen the news or the WBC ruling on it, but I'll have a look and maybe we'll catch up on it tomorrow and I'll give you my opinion once I've reserved it. I think in all these situations, there are so many things that you hear and don't hear. It doesn't sound good, what you just told me, but I don't know anything about the ruling, the investigation or anything, so we'll have a look, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people talking about it over the next 24 hours.
Oscar's case was that through WADA, the substance he tested positive for wouldn't be banned until it was the day of the fight, but with VADA, it is a banned substance. With that in mind, with so many loopholes, who has to take responsibility in these situations?
In a lot of those situations, it all depends what the commission acknowledges. Do you remember with the Billy Joe Saunders situation? It was an argument that on his UCAD test that was fine, but on his VADA test it wasn't. It's so confusing. I think that there needs to be a universal situation where governing bodies or commissions just acknowledge one list, because you've got a situation there where a fighter might think that a substance is fine. Well, it's fine on that list, it's not on that list, but it was on that list, and that's confusing. And whether a fighter is guilty or not guilty, that gives them the opportunity to say, well, like, this is the list that I've got, and it's not on that list, so it's a mess.
Those are the words of Eddie Hearn, and he gives his intake briefly on Oscar Valdez'S story or news about him testing positive twice for the sample A and the sample B. And he did use Billy Joe Saunders as an example, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about. First off, he took the approach to Oscar, like, hey, let me stand back from it. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know, okay? And then, of course, the interviewer, Ryan, shout out to him. He was like, okay, well, he got tested positive for this, and he got tested positive for this again. And he's like, okay, well, I mean, it's a lot of loopholes because a lot of things that, people don't acknowledge. It should be one universal chart that shows what is legal and what's not legal, and he mentioned back to Billy Joe that Billy Joe had UCAD, it was okay, and the UCAD at VADA, it wasn't okay. Well, Dillian White was completely the opposite. Okay, well, VADA nothing showed up on Dillian White's test, but then UCAD showed that he had something in his test. So, it should be, and Eddie's right, it should be a universal way of testing people to show what's fine and what's not fine. But what does stick out with that, though? When you're dealing with substances and you're dealing with vitamins and you're dealing with these things that these things that you're putting in your body, these fighters putting in your body, obviously they should be a certain amount of things that should have a standard to it. Okay, so when you're dealing with all these type of supplements and stuff like that, like snack and those things, and multivitamins and zinc and a lot of things that have minute ingredients in it, and it pops up on the test, these fighters get a bad rap. But some of them do it maliciously. Some of them do it just to say, hey, I didn't do it. But at the end of the day, he's right, because you do have certain situations where you have UCAD, the BBBC, then VADA, and then you have the rest of these sanctioning bodies that really don't even do what the WBC does. But what difference does it make? Because if the WBC works with VADA and VADA catches them, and that's what the WBC hires them for, what good is that to still allow this guy to fight? It doesn't excuse that, though, okay? Because at the end of the day, he got tested positive for something that was not supposed to be there. Okay, so we have to look at that pragmatically, regardless of what it was in the T or when it was in his P or when it was anywhere. Okay, it didn't really matter because he put it there. He might not know how it got there. He might not. We've already talked about that. But at the end of the day, I feel that these fighters should be held more responsible. And like he said, it looks bad. It doesn't look good. Okay, because have that been someone else, okay, how would this have worked out? And I know why Eddie Hearn stepped away from it, because he knows he still represents Canelo. So if you're talking about Oscar, you're kind of talking about Canelo, because Canelo is in that same group, because he was also tested positive for something that didn't supposed to be in his body. So it was a clever move from Eddie Hearn to be like, let me step back here. Okay. But I think these type situations, they're real tricky. Look at the Alexander Povetkin situation. Okay. Oh, he's a drug cheat. He's this, he's that. And then you'll have guys like Leonard Ellaby trying to amplify that and that happening with Povetkin with, the failed drug test. You remember he's a cheat, so you don't celebrate him anything. Okay, well, you're hating because there's a lot of people that you do celebrate that did cheat. You haven't heard Leonard Ellaby talk about Roy Jones Jr. or Sugar Shane Mosley or any of these guys that tested positive for stuff. But then yet you're going to single out this particular guy because he's not from the States. He's not of your skin complexion. So, hey, there you go. He's not, for the connection. Right? So it's, of course, you had Josh Taylor doing the same thing. Right? You got to look at that. He should be banned for life. I'm like, whoa, banned for life? for one test? So come on, and I think people should stop pointing the fingers and then start understanding what's going on in the sport of boxing. I think they should be more strict. And I also think if you're not sure, don't do. If it don't apply, let it fly. Okay? Because when you're looking at these fighters and then they're taking stuff that they think's okay, like Eddie Hearn was mentioning, you think it's okay, but you're not really sure, or you take for cash value that it's okay because I've been taking it this fight and this fight and this fight. Well, things change. But like he was saying, that list is not consistent, okay? It's not consistent. It's not the same things on the list. So you can get away with something here. You can't get away with it here, there. You know what that reminds me? It reminds me of the United States of America. Something's illegal here. Something's legal here. You can't do this here, but you can do it here. It's crazy. Okay, there should be one unified, since things are all about world champions and world sanctioning bodies and international sanctioning bodies. Okay, well, all of these people, that's the mundo, that's mundial, that's the whole world. So the whole world needs to get together in this sport of boxing, since we don't have a general, official, national anything. Okay, because it's a world. Are these supposed to be world organizations? But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn and his opinion on Oscar Valdez. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.